Hello and welcome back to VNI Nation. My name is Titus, and this is I'm sorry. So terribly sorry about that. This is another episode of Scattered Thoughts, the completely unedited show where we talk about various topics and ideas, and each one connects to the previous one in some way. And on that note, Alex talked about a number of different things in his last Scattered Thoughts video, but chief among them was the coronavirus. And as long as we're on the topic of talking about vile viruses that travel to various countries around the world, I would like to talk about an ex-vile operative that travels to various countries around the world. And of course, that means we're talking about Carmen Sandiego. That's right, my friends. Carmen Sandiego. There's this Netflix show on, Netflix. Man, I am getting really bad at this. On Netflix called Carmen Sandiego, and it's a new take on this classic genre of video game. This series goes way back to I don't even know, but it's like an educational series where you have to go to different places around the world, collect a bunch of different clues to track down vile operatives, and find out who's behind all of these series of thefts and robberies, until you eventually track down Carmen Sandiego. If you probably know, it's Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. There's like a whole series of them. They're great, they're pretty decent. I played one myself way back in the day when I was a kid. They're pretty interesting. They're challenging though, they can be. But that's not going off topic here. That's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the Netflix series, because I just recently watched both seasons. There's 2 seasons and an interactive movie game that you can play. And I watched both seasons and I played the game. Very interesting show. It dives into Carmen Sandiego's backstory on how she became Carmen Sandiego, where the name came from, why she travels around the world and, steals a bunch of things, because she is not a vile operative, which is what the games would lead you to believe. She is actually stealing stuff before Vile can steal them. This is going to start to get real complicated here, so bear with me while I try to explain this. So back in the day, her in Argentina. She was born in Argentina, probably, but she was very young when she was living with her mother and her father in Argentina. And this guy, he's like a ninja type dude, samurai-esque, ninja warrior, right? He's working for Vile. He's one of the they call him faculty, because they teach students how to steal things. So the main group, the leaders of Vile, they're called the faculty. So he's one of the faculty, and he's on this mission to eliminate this guy who worked for Vile back in the day, but there's some problems. Something's just not like, I don't know, he's got his own agenda now. He needs to be eliminated. So, this guy, we'll call him Shadow-san. Because I'm Shadow and he's, Japanese Shadow-san. No, but that's actually his name in the show. Sorry, I'm not going off on a tangent here. Shadow-san goes to Argentina, tracks down this guy. Turns out that's old Carmen's dad. Oh no. Well, he's gotta go. So, he dies. I'm not going to dive into that whole thing. Her mother disappeared. We don't really know what happened to her. Maybe we'll get an explanation later on, but as for right now, we don't really have an explanation for where her mother went. But yeah, so, Shadow-san, he finds this little girl, and he's like, wow, I can't really leave this little girl here to just, fend, to her own devices. So he takes her back to Vile Island, and the Vile faculty raise her as their own on this island where they train thieves. So obviously, Carmen, they called her Black Sheep. They gave her a nickname. They didn't give her like an actual name, so they just called her Black Sheep. So for the first, 16, 17 years of her life, she was just known as Black Sheep. And she grew up on this island. She, played some pranks, learned how to steal. She was like really, really good at stealing, pickpocketing, you name it. This girl knew it because she was just surrounded by this environment. And one day, she breaks out. Like, she ends up actually going to the Vile school and learning to be a thief, but she already kind of had a good amount of skills, so she didn't really learn a whole lot, but she ended up failing. Oh man. This is quite the undertaking. She ends up failing, and she leaves because she wants to try to prove herself, right? Eventually, she finds out that she does not agree with what Vile is doing, and she sets off on her own. So, yeah, so she sets off on her own with only the name Black Sheep to her name. So yeah, she became Carmen Sandiego. She adopted the name Carmen Sandiego after she stole this red jacket, the red trench coat, and the hat, that her iconic red hat that she wears. She looked at the brim of the hat, found out that it was made by Carmen Brand Outfitters, San Diego, located in San Diego. So she looks at the brim and she's like, my name is Carmen Sandiego. Yeah, great. Okay, cool. That is certainly one way to do it, yes. Probably not the way I would have done it, but it's still not a bad way to go. So that's how Carmen Sandiego got her name. Whew, wow, that was exhausting and long and drawn out. But the point is, I quite enjoyed watching the series on Netflix. If you haven't seen it already, would recommend. It was probably like a 7. Maybe an 8, but maybe an 8 is a bit too high. But a 7 seems about right. It's pretty good series. If you haven't seen it yet, and you're stuck at home with nothing to do for another week or so, like I am, highly recommend watching Carmen Sandiego. However, if you do watch it, be sure you're watching season 1 first and not season 2 like I did. I watched them in the wrong order. It didn't ruin it for me, but it was just kind of disappointing finishing the second season and then watching the first season being like, oh, wow. Yeah. Watch out for that. Netflix does some weird stuff with the way they order their seasons. But yeah. Great show. Would recommend. Make sure you watch season 1 first before you watch season 2. You're not going to be like super confused, but it just helps. It makes more sense to watch it in the correct order if you do watch it. And yeah, that's great. All right. I'll be honest, this was not the topic that I was planning to do for the Scattered Thoughts, but it just kind of came to me, and I felt that I needed to do it. So here we are. Anyway, have you seen Carmen Sandiego? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I thought it was pretty good myself. And if you like this video, go ahead and leave a thumbs up so that I know you are truly paying attention and you know quality entertainment when you see it. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. What are you even doing if you're not subscribed to our channel? Hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date and you don't miss a video. Speaking of missing videos, if you missed the last Scattered Thoughts video, you can go ahead and check that out over here. And I made a playlist with all of the Scattered Thoughts videos, so you can watch them all in order, and you can see that over there. This has been VNI Nation. Thank you, and goodbye.